guys, it's Geneviève from the Red Fairy Project, your destination to get daily doses of inspiration to live healthy and happy. So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I love sharing books that really inspire me, that give me tools to face those daily challenges. And there is one book in particular that I wanted to share with you. It's a book I talked about a long time ago when I first started vlogging. And I guess the quality of my vlogs has improved a little bit since. So I figured I would redo a video on this book because even since the time that I did the video the first time, I have been using the tools from this book on a daily basis, every single day. And the book is called The 4 Agreements. It's a very small book. It's really easy to read and quick to read. And the 4 lessons that you can take from this book can be game changers, and they really were for me, and they really helped me on, as I said, a daily basis to face those challenges, to be less stressed, to know how to handle difficult situations properly. So what the book says, if I summarize it really quickly in a few minutes, there are 4 agreements that the book speaks about. And what I do is I actually recite the 4 agreements every morning after I've meditated. And so now it's like ingrained in my brain, and it's something that on a subconscious level, I know influences my decisions and my actions every day in a positive way. So the 4 agreements are, and this is how I recite it. So I say it more as an affirmation. So my word is impeccable. I don't take things personally. I don't make assumptions. And I always do my very best. So that sounds really simple, right? However, when it comes to putting these principles, if you will, in practice, when we are facing a challenge and we're in the middle of an argument with somebody, when somebody has just pushed our buttons, or we're at work and we might have a presentation to do and we're really nervous, or whatever it is that you might be facing, if you're not really solidly anchored in those principles, your mind goes in a million different directions, and you're completely like irrational, and stress and craziness just completely takes over. So I find that these 4 principles really allow you to kind of center yourself and ground yourself. So if I dive in them quickly, so the first one is my word is impeccable. Now, what kind of comes to mind for me is more like if you're gossiping, if you're talking about other people negatively, or if you're talking about yourself negatively. So this is something that's really important, to be very self-aware of how we speak to ourselves, what we say, like what's the story that we tell ourselves, about our capabilities, about maybe something that we did, or something that we think that we're good, like, oh, I can't do this, I can't lose the weight, oh, I can't work out every day, I can't work out in the morning, oh, I can't break up with this person, like I'll never find someone, like any kind of story that you might say. So that's one thing. So really starting to be aware of what you're saying about yourself. And your word be impeccable. It's not about your being saying everything perfectly, but it's about removing that negativity, that harshness, that judgment that we often have in the vocabulary and in the words that we speak on a daily basis, and not just speak, but the mental dialogue as well. So on the other side is how we speak about other people. And I think we're all guilty of this. I know that I am sometimes, is talking about other people. Now, it can be something that can be like quite vicious, but it can be something that can be more subtle, like let's say you're speaking to a friend and you start maybe talking about another friend. Oh yeah, she's like whatever, she always does this, or do you know what she told me? And then you start, because it makes you feel like interesting and important, you stop maybe revealing a secret. So once again, being very self-aware of the conversations that we have about other people and what we say about other people. And I truly believe that other people feel what we say about them, and honestly, even what we think about them. And that might sound like really out there, but I've had moments in my life at the beginning of my relationship with my boyfriend, and I think I've told him this, but sometimes I was really pissed with him. At the beginning, we really had to learn to get to know each other and what the other person wanted and didn't want and all that kind of stuff. And in particular, he's amazing, but there were certain things that he would do that would just like drive me crazy. And it's honestly like I was very overdramatic now that I think of it at the time, but it would really piss me off. However, I was wise enough to know to keep that drama in my head and not actually tell him that. But even if I wasn't telling him, so let's say I was upset with him for like 2 hours. Let's say I was like, fuming and like maybe like calling a friend like, I can't believe he whatever did this and that. Once again, I'm just saying it's nothing bad, but at the time it's just like it upset me. And the moment that in my brain I would realize, you know what, like it's not that important, whatever, and I would let go of that anger and that negativity, I swear to you, like he would call me or email me or something or text me, and I was like, I swear, and like I know this has happened to other people, it's like the other person feels if you have that anger or whatever it is, even if it's something that you don't even say to them verbally. So be aware of that. Be aware of the thoughts that you have about people in your life. And if you have certain relationships that are difficult and you might just be kind of pointing at them being in the wrong, be aware of that. If you have a really negative mental dialogue about that person, that is contributing to the challenges that you're facing in that relationship. So may your word be impeccable, or in my case, I like to use it as an affirmation. My word is impeccable. So the second one is don't make assumptions. This is huge, okay? We all do this, and I think the human brain is programmed to make assumptions just because it's easier and we can't actually truly know everything that's going on and all that. However, it can get us into trouble. And I think that honestly, we do make assumptions on a regular basis, from the way that we interpret an email or a text message, or even something that somebody might have said in the way that they said it to us, to an outcome of a certain situation where we might blame ourselves or think that we're in the wrong or whatever it is. And in fact, like there's a lot of unknown, right? And I think that sometimes we like to make assumptions because it kind of gives us an answer. We can like wrap it up with a pretty bow and then move on to the next thing. But we have to be really careful about that, because let's say the example of like, you know, interpreting an email the wrong way, or interpreting a comment on Facebook. Like I've made mistakes like that where I would interpret something, let's say like interpreting a tone in an email as whatever, negative, aggressive, angry, whatever you want to call it, and it wasn't that at all. So we have to be very careful about that. And once again, okay, this is all like, I'm talking about emails, but obviously face-to-face relationships are the most important. So once again, just being careful of how people interpret things. One thing that I've learned over the years was I was very sensitive about people's comments, and I would often, and I think it was honestly because of a lack of confidence, I would interpret them in a negative way, in a like a as if they were criticizing me, when in fact it wasn't that at all. And so it would create drama, and it was just creating a lot of negativity for nothing. So let's be really, really careful of the assumptions that we make in our life, because we can avoid a lot of drama if we don't assume certain things. The third one is don't take things personally, or I will say, I don't take things personally. That is huge. As I just mentioned, I could have considered myself quite a sensitive person for quite a while. I think I still am, but I think I've worked a lot on that. And taking things personally, my goodness, once again, I think we all do this. I mean, we do it from somebody maybe cutting us off in traffic to, once again, an email coming in, we interpret it a certain way. Somebody makes a decision about something, and this can be something small, or it can be something that's really big and that has a huge impact on us. And sometimes it might be something personal, but sometimes it might not. And once again, and last week's video was actually about this, is about how we choose to react to something that's out of our control, something that basically happens to us or for us, depending on the mindset you have, and then choosing how you react to that, what kind of mindset that you want to adopt. You want a mindset that's going to amplify negativity or nourish positivity and moving forward. So you really have a choice in how you take things, and when you take them personally, the only person you're basically hurting is yourself. So it's about basically pushing our ego out of the way. This is something that's a daily practice for all of us. We all have an ego. The ego can be bigger in certain people than others. It can be bigger at certain moments in our life or in certain areas in our life. Let's say maybe at work, our ego for some reason flares up more, or in our romantic relationships. And once again, it's all about self-awareness and just noticing when we might be taking something personally, whether it's a joke or it's something that's maybe a little more serious that has an impact on us. So taking a step back, observing ourselves without judging ourselves, and then choosing what route am I going to take here? Am I going to take it personally? Am I going to attack back? Because that's often the ego. When it's attacked, the first thing it wants to do is it feels the need to defend itself, and then you're just going to dive right into all of that negativity and create more negativity. So sometimes we don't have a choice of maybe some of the negativity that comes our way, but we have a choice if we feed that negativity or not. And the fourth principle is I always do my very best. And I love this principle. And I love reminding myself and reminding others of that, because when we have challenges in our life, and once again, maybe something doesn't go the way that we wanted, the way that we planned, we can often really kind of kick ourselves and beat ourselves up and be really, really hard on ourselves. But what's important to remember is that usually most of us, we're just doing our best, right? So we're all on this journey together. We're all trying to figure it out as we go. Sometimes we think that everybody else has it figured out, but us, it's not the case. So we're all figuring it out as we go, and we're all doing our best. And sometimes we have amazing days where we're rock stars, and sometimes we have really shitty days where everything goes wrong and we mess up, and that's fine. And honestly, for me, what comes up when I look at this principle is really it's kindness, right? So always remember to be kind to yourself, to be kind to others as well. Like all of these principles, you can kind of reflect them back to other people around you, and to maybe be a little less harsh on other people around you, whether it's at work, maybe it's friends, maybe it's your romantic relationship. And just remember that we are all doing our very best. And whether this is, let's say, you're working out and yesterday you had a kick-ass workout and today, my gosh, it was a struggle. Or you're trying to start eating healthy and for the last week you were amazing and today you fell off the wagon and you ate a whole bag of chips. Like whatever it is, the first step is honestly kind of, I would say, forgive yourself. Not to say like, oh, I did something bad me, I need to forgive myself, but just be like, okay, this happened, I'm acknowledging it, accepting it, let's move on. I'm human, we all make mistakes. And once again, what's important is just look forward. And I really am doing my best, but I'm not perfect and nobody is. So let's move forward and let's just give it another try. So I find that when you look at things that way, when you look at life and what you're trying to create with your life that way, it removes a lot of the judgment that can be very destructive, actually. Once again, that mental dialogue that's going on in the background that we might have about ourselves or about others that can really deplete a lot of our energy, and that energy can be used to really accomplish the things that we want to accomplish that are really important to us. So I highly recommend this book, The 4 Agreements. Super small book. I would show it to you, but I actually don't have it at my apartment here with me. But I will put I'll insert an image in the video and I'll leave a link to it below. Super quick read, and those principles, as I said, they have stayed with me. And what I do is I recite them on a daily basis right after I've meditated in the morning, just to set the tone for the day. And once again, for it to stay at the back of my mind during the day. I find it extremely helpful to have some of those tools. And when you recite them on a daily basis, they do really stay at the back of your mind, and they do really start guiding your decisions and your behaviors and what you say to other people and what you say to yourself. So for me, it's been an extremely valuable book, and I thought it was worth redoing another video on it. So I hope it's helpful. Remember to subscribe to my videos. If you're on YouTube, there is a little bell at the top left or right for to turn on notifications, so that way you're actually notified when a new video comes out. Another way is to sign up to the newsletter. There'll be a link for that below as well. So I have new videos every week. You want to make sure that you don't miss out. They come out every Sunday, and I find it's the perfect way to start your week feeling inspired, having that toolbox that you can just kind of pick and choose from depending on the challenges that you're facing. And so make sure that you have some way of being informed when a new video goes live. I wish you an amazing week. Once again, let me know if you have any questions or comments. Just write those below. I'm happy to answer them, and I will see you next week. Love you guys. Bye.